Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's that time of year when everyone is setting goals. You're reflecting on the year that's just been, you're planning for the year ahead, thinking about what do I want to do differently this year? Who do I want to be? Especially in the world that we live in today, where you can see so many people achieving so many different things, it can sometimes make us feel like we should be achieving all of those things in all of those different areas of life: work, school, friendships, exercise, health. There's so much that you could be doing. And sometimes what ends up happening is we put unrealistic expectations on ourselves. We try to do everything, and to be honest, it's impossible because you just can't fit it all in. So what can we do about this, I hear you ask? How do we achieve the things that we want to achieve, but also still feel good and happy and not overwhelmed? One of the ways that we can do this, or something that can help with this, is thinking about values. Thinking about what is really important to you. If we're thinking psychology and therapy-wise, values and committed action is something that is used in acceptance and commitment therapy. Values are different from goals. Values aren't something that can be achieved, so there's no end result with a value. Instead, a value is kind of like a guiding principle. Working within that value or towards that value, you can set yourself goals and little achievements along the way. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's put our psychologist hats on. What does the research tell us about values? Does taking committed action towards your values actually improve your overall well-being, life satisfaction, happiness, etc.? In this systematic review, they looked at values interventions across a wide range of populations. So this was people who were both clinical and non-clinical presentations, and the intervention was used to try and support a whole range of different things. For example, alcohol dependence, depression, anxiety, life satisfaction, academic attainment, chronic pain, and even work satisfaction. And actually, what the review found is that a values intervention had a positive impact on all of these different outcome measures. And this was true for both non-clinical participants, so people that didn't necessarily have a sort of mental health diagnosis, but also for people with clinical presentations such as depression, alcohol dependence, etc. In saying this, I also found some research which was conducted in Spain, two different research papers, one conducted in Spain, one conducted in South Korea, that showed that actually the type of value is important in terms of relationship with overall well-being and happiness. So this could be important to bear in mind when thinking about what your values might be. Values such as religion, or ones that were associated with sort of social situations such as family, friends, etc., they had a much stronger correlation with overall happiness than values such as academic attainment, power, money, those kind of things. And so while I think it's absolutely okay to value money and value work attainment, these papers seem to suggest that it's important to try and think holistically about your values, because this will help you to feel overall satisfied and hopefully help you to stick to all of your values and goals much more easily. So now let's get into the practical things. How do we actually figure out what our values are? How do we figure out what it is that is really important to us? This is a technique that I used last year and I found it super helpful. I genuinely feel like this has helped me a lot to become more of the person that I wanted to be. A really good first step for this is to just go online and find a list of values on a website somewhere. Try and find a list that you feel like makes sense to you, that you feel like stands out to you in some way. And then once you've got this list, what I want you to do is go through and mark each value on there that you feel like is important to you in some way. For this, try not to think about it too much. Often the ones that kind of stand out to you straight away are the ones that mean something to you in some way. So now that we've got these lists, I want you to cut that list down to your top 10. Right, now this is where it can get a bit tricky. You've got your top 10, now cut it down to your top 5. Yes, just 5. Brilliant, so we've got our top 5 values of things that are really important to us. Now, I want you to get a plain piece of paper and draw 5 circles, just like this. Once you've drawn those 5 circles, I want you to write each of your 5 values into one of those circles. Now is where we figure out the kind of levels of importance of all these different 5 values. So, I want you to take 2 circles and draw a line between those 2. It doesn't matter which 2, just one line between 2 circles. Now I want you to think, of these 2 that you've drawn the line between, which one feels more important to you? Once you've made that decision, draw a line next to that circle, kind of like a little score point. Now that you've done it for that one, I want you to do the same thing between each value and each other circle. So by the end of this exercise, you should have 4 lines coming off of each circle so that you can see that you've compared each one in its different ways. And each time that you compare, just do a little score next to the one that's the most important. So hopefully what we've got now is a picture which shows you what your top values are. Whichever one achieved the most scores, that's your number 1 value. That's the thing that you value the most or feel is the most important or meaningful to you in whatever way. Then hopefully you've got a second and a third. So these are your top 3 values. We figured out what is most important to you, but we can't just leave it there, because what does this even mean? What do we do with this new information? So the next step is to figure out what these values actually look like to you. What do they mean in your everyday life? What is it about them that you love? So I want you to write a heading of each of those values, and underneath it, write a paragraph in as much detail as you can about what that value means to you. What does that look like in your everyday life? What does it mean if you are living in line with love or living in line with balance? What does that mean and what does that look like? They say it takes about 90 days to build a new habit, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on just one of these values for the next 3 months. What this could look like is each day or each week when you're planning out things that you want to do that day, try and think of one small thing that you could add into your day which helps you to move towards that value, which helps you to bring more of that value into your everyday life. And do this for 3 months. It might not feel like much at first, but that's the point, because those small changes that you do each day, they will build up, and over time you will become accustomed to it, you will change your routine, you will notice the benefits of living in line with things that you know that are important to you. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found it insightful in some way. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you try this technique. If you're on Instagram, go over there and follow me at @the_psych diaries, and you can see more kind of day-to-day of what I get up to in my job as an associate psychological practitioner. And yeah, I hope this has been useful. If you haven't already, then subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you back here for the next video. Bye!